Do not place a trade based on what you're seeing in this video today, because trading is risky and it can cause substantial financial loss. There are so many areas you need to become good at to become a good trader. Emotional mastery, chart reading, trading systems, money and trade management. So this video is just educational only to help you become a much better trader. Alright traders, welcome to another edition of Ask John. And this is not really an Ask John, this is more of a few things, two things in this video I'm going to help you out with. Two things that's really going to help you moving forward with your trading. And also I wanted to say happy Easter and happy holidays. No matter what you believe in, take some time out for your family. Even though for you guys that run businesses and still do stuff like that, you know, obviously you're an investor in the markets and trader, you know, you want just pull back a little bit, you know. Let your mind defrag for a couple of days. Come back to the charts, they're still going to be here, and then it can help you you know, get a lot more clarity as well too around the markets and so on and so forth. So happy holidays guys, happy Easter. And I hope that these videos that I've been putting out have been really helping you out. I'm doing this first thing in the morning, guys. So I'm getting ready I'm getting ready to spend the weekend with my family, friends and loved ones, and I wanted to make sure I do this video for you. All right, so two things I really wanted to help you out with in this video. The first thing is first thing I want to share with you guys or teach you guys is the importance of looking at the bigger time frame. I've talked about this a couple of times, but you guys, it's important for you guys to understand this. Right now, we're looking at the S&P 500, the Dow, the Nasdaq, even things like Apple, right? They all look bullish in the short term. Look over the last couple of months, they all look bullish short term, right? So what I want you to do is I want you to look at the bigger picture. See, I learned this from my mentor early on, and he's a very successful trader. And he's like, always look at the weekly charts. Or like for me, I like trading the daily charts, so always look at the weekly charts. The weekly charts are the bigger picture. It's really the bigger charts, or the longer term time frame, is really what the big guys, what the big daddies are doing within that market. Call it a stock or an ETF or whatever market you're looking at. Make sense? So always go back to that longer term time frame chart. You know, for me, as I said before, for me, it's that weekly chart. The weekly chart for me is really important. And by looking at the weekly chart, guys, and by analyzing the weekly chart, we can actually see, by looking at the peaks and troughs, we can identify really quickly what is actually happening in the markets. Okay, and so therefore, what I want you to do is I want you to bring up an open, highlight, close chart, or even a line chart. Bring up a weekly chart, squeeze the chart up as much as possible, and look at the major swings and the major lows. Meaning, if it's a move up and a nice move down, then that's what I call a major high and major low. You'll be able to see this on my last couple of videos I've done. And even still right now, the market's still trying to hold up hold up where it is right now. So the thing is, guys, is that, as I said before, is that I don't predict anything in these charts. I don't predict anything in these markets. I just show you what I'm seeing, what the bigger picture is telling me. Because anyone that says this market is bullish overall long term doesn't even understand the market. Because how the markets work is looking at the peaks and troughs, looking at the highs and lows, and gauging where the big buyers and big sellers are pushing this around. So right now, as I speak right now, that the sellers are over in control, the short-term movement is going up, and I think that's a lot of technical analysts are seeing this as well too. But you've got to look at the bigger picture. Okay, so that bigger picture is what's going to show you. And again, don't take my word for it. Bring up an S&P 500 chart. Bring up a weekly chart, squeeze it up, look at the line chart, and then what I want you to do is I want you to go back to 2007 and look at the peaks and troughs. What actually happened from 2003 to 2007? Higher peaks and high troughs. What happened at the end of 2007, start of 2008? Oh, lower peaks and lower troughs. Then we went into a downtrend. What happened at the start of 2009? We started making higher peaks and high troughs. Major higher swings and high peaks and higher troughs. Then that continued up to where, if you actually have a look at a line chart, especially from 2013, I think it is, if I just bring up, looking at a line chart now, especially if you look at, say, a line chart on the S&P 500, you're looking at from the start of 2013 to where we are right now. We've had an astronomical move to the high side, astronomical to the start of 2015. 2015 was a sideways movement, sideways year, and now we're starting to break down major lower peaks and major lower troughs. Look at it for yourselves. Again, don't take my word for it. Just look at it for yourself. Look at the bigger picture and see what the bigger picture is actually telling you. No matter what market you're trading, these are the major areas, these are the major parameters, these are the major picture that we always need to keep an eye on, because it's the bigger picture which sets basically the sail. You know what I mean? It's not really the wind. It's not the wind. It's not that small little daily movement that's setting the sail. No, it's that big. It's the sail, which is like the weekly chart, so to speak, and that's actually helping you move forward. So, guys, really, it's really important for you guys to understand this. And as I said before, bring up a chart and look at the peaks and troughs. You know what I mean? Look at the peaks and troughs, and you'll start to identify. You'll start to see that what I've been talking about is not a prediction. I don't predict this market going down to certain levels. No, I'm only getting that from what the market's telling me. Long term, the bigger picture. This short term just keeps moving up and up and up and up. And, you know, we may get a little bit more upside from here as well too. I doubt we're going to get a lot more upside, but we may get a little bit more upside. Who knows what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks? Over the next couple of months, I see we actually really start to move on the downside quite heavily. Now, who knows what's going to happen there, right? But as I speak right now, if you have a look at the major charts, you have a look at the major S&P 500, the weekly charts and all that sort of stuff. When we're looking at this sort of stuff, guys, you got to understand that the bigger picture's in mind. Look at the S&P, bring up the weekly chart, bring up a line chart, bring up a weekly chart, look at the Dow Jones, the S&P, the Nasdaq and the Dow, start to form a picture. You say, you know what, John, I can now start to see the reason why you've been so bearish lately. You know what I mean? That's what I want you to do. Start doing that. Start looking at that, because that's really going to help you out. Even if you're trading a stock or a Forex market or anything like that, bring up the weekly chart. Bring up a line chart. Open highlight close chart if you want to. Squeeze it up as much as you can and start to look at the highs and lows and start to say, okay, cool. When we started creating higher peaks, higher troughs on the weekly chart, we started to form a nice uptrend. Oh, look, we started forming these lower peaks and lower troughs. Oh, we now started forming a downtrend. The market started going down, and so on and so forth. You'll be able to see that on the weekly charts. Now, it doesn't mean that happens all the time. It doesn't mean as soon as we create a lower peak and a lower trough, or even a lower trough first and a lower peak, that we're likely to head down. No, that doesn't happen all the time, you know, because sometimes that'll happen and suddenly, boom, it breaks up to make a higher peak, then a higher trough, and then you're out of there, you know. It might run down like that, lower trough, lower peak, comes down, runs back up, creates a higher peak, higher trough. That's the reason why we need to be flexible as markets, flexible as traders. And the only thing we can gauge on, the only thing that we can actually do right now is to gauge on what exactly the market is actually telling us right now. And the bigger picture, all the indices, including the Russell, including the Nasdaq, especially the Russell, especially the Nasdaq, are really weak. So keep an eye on those weekly charts, guys, because that's the thing that's going to set the sail for what we actually see here. I see a lot more downside coming, maybe even for the short term. I'm looking at the hourly charts as well too for the shorter term movement, what actually happened just recently. And you know, if you bring up an hourly chart, as I'm doing this video right now, I'm looking at the S&P. So the S&P is sort of doing it. The Dow Jones is sort of doing it as well. The Russell has definitely got a nice one. And then obviously the SPY obviously as well too. And same with the Nasdaq as well too. Now what am I talking about here? It looks like those shorter term time frames, the hourly charts, are forming looks like they're forming a bear flag. Now it hasn't actually broken down yet, but it looks like today we actually had like a bit of a run down, or a lower open, and then we had a run right up. And so it was basically a nothing day for the market. But if you bring up an hourly chart, you can start to see on the price action, oh look, it looks like we might be forming a bear flag. See, as you can see, guys, I don't say, oh well, I think this is going to happen. No, I just read the charts, because the charts is the only thing that we really have to go on. Indicators might help us with gauges and momentum, but the thing is, it's really the charts that we have to go on. Now, if we start to get a slight little breakdown moving forward into next week, that's going to confirm the bear flag, and we're going to see this, and that actually may start this. That may start at least the move down, at least that pullback that we're all looking for. I thought we'd get a bit more of a pullback than we did just recently, but we actually didn't do that. So anyway, guys, look at the weekly charts. That's what I see. I want you to do that again. Bring up a open, highlight, close, hourly chart. Bring up the indexes and start to see what I'm saying here. A bear flag is forming on most of the indices right now on an hourly basis. It may not go down. For a bear flag to confirm, we need a nice little hourly bar breaking down. That will confirm that. It hasn't actually happened yet. We've just had a nice little run up. So that's what I'm seeing right now, guys, with the with the market as well too. And that's the first thing I want to say to you guys about that. Now, one thing I want, and then this there, that's the first thing out of the two things. The second thing I want to say to you guys, and I'm not perfect here, but I'm speaking to you guys the things that I do and the things that I need to keep reminding myself if I want to continue to do well in these markets. So the first thing is always keep an eye on the bigger picture. Look at the charts. Don't make predictions. Just go based on what the market's telling you long term. Second thing is what I want to tell you is. I want to tell you and I want to encourage you guys. The second thing is I want to encourage you guys to never rush into a trade. Every time you rush into something, every time you rush into a trade, that trade is generally the wrong thing to do. Okay, so especially for my private traders, I'm creating like a little checklist. And if you feel like you're rushing at all, if you feel like you haven't done your work properly with that, and you're nicely easy going into it, then that is the wrong trade to do. So you got to continue to monitor yourself. That's the reason why trading is 80% psychology or 90% psychology, 10% mechanics. Because the thing is that we as humans look at the charts differently depending on where we're at. You know what I mean? Or for me as well too. I could be going through a really, really stressful day. For maybe it's partners or maybe it's whatever, you know. And then suddenly I look at the charts. Sometimes I look at the charts differently in that mind frame because I'm not clear than if I'm a clear mind frame. So what I want you to do, guys, is I want you to start bringing back. the mindset, and part of the mindset is that am I rushing into this trade? Whether you're a scalper or whether you're a bit more of a short-term trader, maybe a 1 to 5 day trader, or even if you're a bit more of a longer-term trader, no matter what system you're trading, you got to ask yourself, am I rushing into this trade? Because if I am rushing into this trade, it's not the right trade. That rushing in life in general is always the wrong thing to do. And I have to keep learning that lesson myself as well too. And so the thing is, guys, is that as I said before, I'm not perfect, but what I think I'm sharing with you guys some things that's majorly important for you guys to help you move forward. So happy Easter. Hope you have a great weekend. First thing I want to say is look at the weekly charts, go through that as well too. And next thing I want to say is don't rush into any trades because that is always the wrong trade. Anyway, guys, I'm out of here. Remember, success can be yours if you go claim it. So step up, take massive action, and face your fears today. Hey, it's Howell here, and thanks so much for watching my video. You see, I'm putting out daily videos and education on helping you learning the art of successful trading. So click on the subscribe button to keep up to date with every video I do. Also, check out my story video, $250,000 in debt, cancer, overweight, family passing away, lived on the streets, and more, and how I overcome it and now thriving through my life. This is here to motivate you, so click on that image to watch my video. And lastly, if you're struggling with your trading, then you need to see my latest webinar where I'm sharing with you an amazing strategy that allows you to generate an income without getting the direction right. So click on that image on this page to register for my next free webinar. This is Howell here. Remember, success can be yours if you go claim it. So step up, take massive action, and face your fears today.